Welcome back to Chai with Changemakers. Today's guest holds a special place for me, and the story of how I found her is honestly one of my favorites. My husband came to me and told me about an ex colleague of his he had worked with for a while who had started making her own chai masala. So we ordered it. And we loved it so much, we kept a repeat order going for months. It had a spot in our kitchen before I even had a podcast. But here's the funny part. My husband didn't really know much about her beyond the fact she made amazing chai masala and that she was a great person to work with and very good at her work. And so I got curious. I wanted to know who she actually was and what her journey looked like. The curiosity is really how Chai with Changemakers found its next guest. Trupti Sedani, welcome. I started as a customer who loved your chai. Today, I get to actually know the woman behind it. And what a privilege it is to finally put a story behind the flavor.
Thank you so much, Suchi, for your kind words and having me on the show. It's been such an honor and pleasure to work with your husband. And at the same time, knowing you, trying to get my products across. It's gone beyond boundaries, I would say, something
Wow.
where you never expect. There have been people who have worked with you in the past, but when there is a support which comes after you leave an organization, that truly matters.
Your skills of connecting to people is what basically makes it happen.
Both
And
the sides.
so, Trupti, how do you take your chai? Is it plain, masala cardamom chai, or happy if someone is making it and serving it?
I would say I would fit in two categories, but one predominantly would be my own masala chai.
Awesome.
I'm a little particular of what the flavor I want, and I want it strong, and the spices should just hit me right.
And so apparently people who actually have masala chai, their personality traits are they are social butterflies, they are enthusiastic, they're warm, and they are daring. And that completely identifies you as an entrepreneur. So seems like your masala chai is a perfect choice.
Thank you. Yes, it is. So people who have known me in the past versus what they know me, they would go with this for now for sure.
I noticed your Instagram is at Gentle Steep Stories, and you have described blue pepper as a ritual steeped in memory and meaning. So tell me, when you make that cup you just described, is there a memory behind the masala chai, your first memory?
For me, I think I started drinking chai as early as I think I was 6, 7. So I know kids don't drink chai, but my mom was a chai addict. She
Okay.
used to have like 8, 10 cups a day. And that's how I got into chai.
Wow. Okay.
And then I think by 8ish or so, I had already started making chai for her. And that's
Oh.
when I picked it up. So every cup I made for her, I started, sipping little by little. And that's how I got into it. And I remember at least 12, 15 years ago, I used to have 8 to 10 cups a day.
So it's literally ingrained in your blood.
Yeah.
You can call it genetic.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, you have described yourself as a very shy, withdrawn, almost living in a shell. Even before we start talking about you as a personality, let's take you back to where it actually all started, Bangalore. So, because you were a shy person, do you think that you were naturally like that, or was it shaped by what was happening at home?
It was mostly what was happening at home. I was very shy until I think I started working. And before that, I was very much into shell, the background. My parents got divorced when I was 10.
Okay.
So I was raised by a single mother and the struggles of it. And she was not a graduate. She just
Wow.
completed her 10th.
Okay.
And for her at that age, 25, 30 years ago, to find a job, raise 2 girl children. So it was very difficult for her, and she barely took any help from her maternal side or paternal side. She wanted to live life and raise us on her own terms. It was never that she wanted to compromise right from the beginning, from the time I was born. No, my kids will go to an English medium school, trying to give them the best education, get them to a private school. So those kind of struggles, she does not have much of her savings. People try to impose different things on you. You can compromise. Why do you have to do
Right.
this, or why do you have to do that? I am what I am because of her. If she didn't have that strength, we wouldn't have been here.
Wow. So when your dad leaves you and goes away, and there's a lot of opinions that are being thrown around, and it's very natural to get either carried away, or you have a choice to be strong and just put your head down and just work and to do whatever you think is good for your children. And I think that's what your mom decided to do, and that shows so much inner strength from where she came from, right?
Yes.
So
She's been the sorry.
go ahead.
I just wanted, she's always been the brave one.
Uh-huh.
And when I was shy and into a shell, she always pushed me because she worried about me, thinking what happens if I am like this and get into the world.
Can you, I mean, I don't want to ask you this if you don't want to say anything, but can you describe a day in your life during the time when this whole process was happening? The way the house was, because of which you felt so shy and you felt like you had to be in a shell.
I think it was more so even before they got divorced, there were issues. It was a joint family. My
Mhm.
dad was a little abusive. So things kept happening because I could see my mom, there's nobody to support and she's fighting the battle on her own. And at that young age, maybe I was not prepared to discuss that with her, but I
Mhm.
could see what's happening. So whenever there's argument at home, I used to get into a room, lock myself in, just
Right.
get into a corner. And that had been my spot for years. So
Wow.
if there is something happening, I just used to go. Then gradually it so happened after they moved, after they got separated, I stood by my mom, though I was still that shy kind of child. Even if something happened, if I'm worried, I would not go open up and talk to her. I would rather, go find a corner at home. So that
Right.
kept her worrying. But at the same time, I started going out with her, going to courts, managing her cases. A divorce case in India is different than what people handle it here. So
Right.
all that kept happening. She started working. Then you hear things a lot from your relatives and people around, neighbors. They treat you differently. Not everybody looks at you the same way.
Right. My God. Even this image of you sitting in a corner in a cupboard, it's a lot. But you being later on a silent supporter, even though you were not able to communicate with her as much, but just being there, supporting her, being the older daughter, and just saying, I'm there with you, just
Yeah.
fight it. The fact that I have to point out your mom was so brave, because there are a lot of people who are okay to just be in abusive relationship and just continue because they don't want to break the mold of the marriage and support, and hats off to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
She really built that courage after 12 years into marriage at that time. That self was enough for her.
Wow. So when you look back at your childhood without any regret, that's a powerful place to be. So was there a point where you had to actively let go of your resentment or hurt to get where you are right now?
Yes, I would say I took a little longer. I should have done it earlier. But once I started working, once I started knowing people, making more friends, opening myself up, I think I discovered there is life beyond what happened in the past. So,
Wow.
and gradually things kept happening. I worked for a couple of years, got married, got my next family I moved on to, and then the people I'm surrounded by right now. So all kept adding and changing. And right now, I would say I've reached a stage of nirvana where things don't affect me unless I
Awesome.
let it happen. So
Awesome. So it was not an instant one day, it was a process where
yes,
you actually have reached a point where right now you're in a state of nirvana. And that is such an amazing point of view, because it could happen one day, but it could happen as a process. And as everybody says, there's always a silver lining and nothing stays permanent.
yeah. It's always been my mom passed away early, but I always had my sister. She's the greatest support, even
Right,
till date. And
right,
then new supports came, just kept adding.
right. Sadly, for you, the joint family experience was completely opposite.
I have something for that too. So we were in a nuclear family. And
Mhm.
then when I got married, when I met my husband, and he has a bigger joint family, it's like 24 cousins. They've all lived together, been raised together. And
Wow.
when I was getting into that family, I really had my apprehensions. Will I fit in? Will I be able to adjust with them? That was the thing, because I've never seen a joint family be so good.
Right.
That's what. So, and they're so close even till date. If there is an occasion, they share with their siblings, they share it with their cousins, and that gives them equal joy. So I'm so happy I got this family and I've blended in well. So they treat me more of a daughter than a daughter in law.
So the fact that joint family system works, and then when you had a family before which was not as great, that's when I was like, okay, does joint family really work or not work? So it's all
Depends.
depends on people.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. We did talk about your mother and how she struggled, but she was a brave woman and she was so strong. She died pretty young. 45 is such a young age to pass. So, what was it like? What did you feel like? What happened? And how did you get past it? Because you were a huge, strong support and you were with her during the whole time that she managed to stand up. So, how was it?
Uh, It was a very difficult phase. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. If you don't want to say
No, I
anything,
want to say it because I'm sure, there will be people who will learn something to get over it. It's not easy. When we thought she can quit her job, it was me and my sister who were already working. We can take care of our house and we can take care of her. We had started saving to buy a car, on our own with our money at that early phase of our lives, early struggles and everything. And then we thought, now this is the time we start giving back to her because she also needs that time to enjoy. She's left too many things. She got divorced when she was 27, 30. So it was the age where she sacrificed everything, right? So when we decided to do that, she left her job. Just few months into it, things are going fine. And then suddenly a bomb drops that her kidneys are not functioning and she has to undergo dialysis. Even till then, we took it with a pinch of salt. We said things happen and she was diabetic, things will go fine. Because we had seen other friends or people around who were on dialysis, they were good. But then some infection, things got shaken up and 3, 4 months into dialysis, she was bedridden totally and she'd just become like a child because she lost her memory. So we used to carry her like a child. We've carried her in our arms
oh
because
my
she
God.
had lost weight and, she had to be taken to hospital very frequently. So seeing her decline that way, I don't want anybody to see that with their parents. It was very difficult. And at that point in time, so it was around May when my mom passed away. And just few days before that, I had met my husband. And it was an arranged marriage. My grandmother got us through. So I said, anyways, I need to settle. I need to get married too. And my husband has been so supportive since then. He took us through.
Wow.
So, and even my younger sister, she's 6 years younger. So we've been parents to her.
So sorry to hear about that.
I settled it.
I can imagine. You went on to build almost 2 decades in human resource, and HR is fundamentally about empathy. Looking back, do you think your own upbringing, the divorce, raising your sister, watching your mother, manage alone, did it give you kind of an emotional intelligence that became your superpower at work, I would say?
I think so, yes. And it's always been the case. I'm supposed to look at what's benefiting the company, but I also look at what's benefiting the person I'm working with, or because I was more into recruitment and hiring, it has always been that I am the voice of the person I'm getting into the system. And I'm sure people, once they listen to this, would acknowledge it that I've always been their voice when I'm speaking to the hiring team or anybody within the organization. So I think that empathy is just built in now, or it just comes natural to me. I don't have to put effort because I think from somebody else's shoe first. On the other side, who is going to raise their story or who is going to be their voice? That
Yeah.
always comes up first. So I always think what others would think and what's their background story and how will it affect them. And then I move forward.
So, Trupti, when people go through adversities, there are two ways people go to. They become very bitter about the situation that happened to them. And so they carry it in their lives. And then there are opposite people like you who take it as positively and grow as much empathy as possible, making sure other people don't feel the way they feel. And so going into HR and showing so much empathy to people is a huge factor after all that you've gone through. I would say that's commendable.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So have you ever used that empathy in a way in your career? Do you remember any episode that you think that even you were surprised saying, hey, I'm surprised that I could show those kind of feelings.
I mean, I know that for my people whom I have got into the system while I was hiring, I've always gone that extra mile. I remember this one incident where, a person had to relocate and then found out that his partner is not well, and then things didn't work out as part of the relocation, and that person had quit the job on the other side. So I had to take that extra mile to see how that person is onboarded. Not everybody is giving you reasons for not doing certain things. How you try to know the other person so that you can
Yes.
relate and then put their word across. So I
Right.
think it's more of the connect you build with the other person so that you know whether the story is genuine. Not everybody always has bad stories. So
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
know people make up reasons, but at the same time, when we start building up that connect one on one, we start to get to know the other person. And that relation itself helps you decide whether how are you going to help, whether the person is genuine, trying to fake.
that's amazing. So moving on to your next phase of life, you said your husband has been an amazing support to you, especially right at the time when you needed somebody in your life. But the most important thing that you mentioned to me, which was so beautiful, was your in laws are deaf and mute. And you learned sign language to connect with them. Now, what was that learning like? And what did it feel like the first time you communicated with them and they could actually respond back to you?
So I'd say it was very funny because my in laws had never met me when me and my husband met. So usually in India, when we have an arranged marriage, the families meet and then they decide and agree. But here it was just me and my husband. We met, we decided we are getting married. And
Wow.
then I went to Nagpur, I met them.
Mhm.
And that was the first time they were seeing me. So
Right.
that the welcome they gave me and the entire joint family, it was fun. It never felt like I'm meeting them for the first time.
Wow.
I got all the warmth and the welcome because they also knew what was happening with my mother. So they made me feel very comfortable.
Mm.
And I would say my father in law was the most funniest and jolliest person I've met. He's the one who settled me well within the family. He's the one who taught me sign
Wow.
language.
So, how do you go about learning sign language?
So this also was a very sweet journey because my mother-in-law was away. She was with my sister-in-law for some time, and it was just my father-in-law living with us. So
Mhm.
he always needs to have his drink in the evening, and I'm cooking in the kitchen. We had an open kitchen, so he's drinking, I'm cooking, and we keep chatting, talking to each other. That's how I learned. And if certain words I don't understand, he used to write it and show me, and then
Mhm.
he used to explain me the sign for it. So he wanted to prepare me well before I meet my mother-in-law because she was going
Oh,
to move in after a couple of months with us. So he's like, whenever you meet your mother in law, she should be impressed. So you should learn the language before she moves in. So he prepared me, I would say.
I can just imagine you cooking and he teaching you sign language. And how did your mother in law react the first time she saw you using the sign language?
She was surprised that I've learned a lot. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
she taught me more of it later, but basic communication I was able to do with her. My
Wow.
father in law, he was a very extrovert person. So he never needed anybody around him. And he
Uh,
was India's first deaf and mute magician.
wow. A magician
Yeah,
and a deaf and mute. I would love to know a little more.
sure. He used to head the cultural team in Nagpur
Okay.
for deaf and mute. And then he also started his own club, which is called the Deaf Magician Society of India. That's still running. Somebody else has taken it over. He's been in so many world competitions around, and he used to travel all by himself. He's never taken anybody
Wow.
along. So he was somebody who he could go places without anybody's support. He always used to tell me this with this disability, you see how much I can do. Imagine I could speak.
Wow.
So he had great ambitions. So
That's wow. So after growing up in a house that wasn't always easy, what did it feel like to have a supporting family after marriage, like a huge family?
So here also, I would say there things have been different because when it was with my mother, we had our struggles, but three of us were very happy at the same time.
Mhm.
And since I was the older one, I always had the decision making power. I could
Right.
decide what I want to do. But when I
Right.
moved in here, I'm the youngest one of all the 20 cousins. So I'm the last daughter in law of all of them, right? So, and
Even ask you about anything. You're just part of the whole flock. Like I can
right.
imagine that.
So when I moved in here, I had to at least inform them this is what I'm doing. And that felt very weird because I had to learn that. That was a struggle. And then I understood they don't need me to ask permission, they need me to inform them, which is still okay.
Awesome. You eventually moved to Canada and you built your life around it. That was a huge transition period. So quickly? Was it easy? How was it for you?
It was very difficult or very easy. It was in between, I would say. The reason is what I have noticed now in past so many years is if you are not open to make those connections and start building your network, it is going to be difficult. Many people whom I meet or who are moving newly, I tell them, please go make friends, make connections, meet people. If you don't do that, you're just left alone and then you feel, oh, where have I come? What did I do to myself? Don't do that to yourself.
Wow.
Build your community, build your friends.
And this is coming from somebody who was such a shy person, who's always in a shell. So transitions happen, people
Yeah.
change
Yes.
depending upon situations and people around them. And
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. So you write your name as Trup T. That is a TEA in the end. From a girl who stayed in a shell, who grew up too fast, was there a specific moment where you decided to claim that, to put T? Basically, it's your identity.
Yes. So, being into HR, I said, done enough. I don't want to do that corporate job anymore. It was
Right.
not that, I didn't like people around, but it was just that I was bored of the monotonous thing I was doing anyways. So I took that break and then, so the thing of tea came into me because masala chai has always been part of the family. It's an everyday morning thing. I mean,
Yeah.
your day starts with the masala chai. So, and the masala when I make it at home, be it in India or be it here. We make it
Right.
at home. We want that fresh spices and everything coming out. So here, when I moved in, it was trying to get the masalas, which I never really liked or enjoyed. So I started making at home, and this is my grandmother's recipe.
Wow.
So, and all of us, grandmother, mother, my mother in law, all of us so used to it. And then here, when I started making it, I started giving it to my friends and neighbors, and all of them liked it. And then I thought, so when I decided I want to do something else, so tea just came in naturally. And something like this, which is very authentic and a grandmother's recipe, my neighbors and my friends, everybody started supporting me, this is what you should do. And it gave me a validity. Yeah, I'm thinking in the right direction.
So I have heard that when you were working, your nights or evenings were in your kitchen experimenting, getting in your grandmother's recipes, which is so amazing because that's heritage right there. And trying to blend, add all the masalas. Just describe that whole moment when you said, this is it. Like, just describe those days and moments.
Yeah. So the one, our signature one, ginger cake, that's my grandmother's recipe as is. So I have no doubts, or I didn't have to experiment too much because that's my everyday thing. But then when I decided to start my own company, build my brand, I didn't want to go out with one product. So the experimentation started then of what kind of flavors I need to get in, what's more authentic, what will people like, and what are the different flavors we always drink. And I'm so open to trying new flavors all the time. I don't shy away from giving it a try once, irrespective of the reviews I've heard, whether it's good or bad.
Right.
So that's when the experimentation started. I started making those blends. I tasted, then I give it to my family. Then once they are a little okay, then I start giving it to my friends around and then asking, chasing them. Did you try the tea? Give me the feedback. How did you like it? What was strong? So those kept happening for months until I finally, reached, yeah, these are the 6 flavors I want to launch my business with.
Okay. So basically, you've created different blends. So, do certain blends match certain moods or certain seasons? If I am feeling anxious, or if it's maybe middle of winter, it's very cold, especially like how it is in Canada, is there a Trupti approved blend for it?
I would always say ginger goes with all moods and all occasions.
And I've
But
tried
yes,
it
I
and I
know.
loved it. Loved it.
Thank you.
And yes.
So the ginger one, yes. And of course, for that cold warmth and everything, the turmeric one just blends in perfect. It gives you that warm, that subtle feeling you want. It just
Yes.
takes you in through the evening.
Right. And I've seen there's hibiscus,
Yes.
there's different flowers. Just give me a little bit more about those little blends that you have.
Uh, so we started with 6 flavors, which were very spice heavier. Then people started telling, we want some milder flavors. And that's when we got the other 4 flavors introduced. So we have with rose, licorice, mint. Then we have hibiscus and moringa. And
Wow.
then we have the butterfly pea flower. That's more of a, I would say, hyped up in India, where people are liking the blue tea. So we blended in with cardamom and then, cinnamon and amla just to give that twist. So
Wow.
I call our teas Ayurvedic inspired, but at the same time, I would say these teas are so playful.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this mantra which is called make it hot, serve it cold, and make it bold.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
they all can be blended in hot, cold, cocktails, mocktails, lattes. So we play around with it.
Nice. Very nice. I kept ordering the same thing again and again, but now maybe I should deviate a little bit and then try to order some other flavors too.
Sure.
So Blue Pepper just won the Canadian Choice Award 2026, which is so huge.
Thank you.
And then you were nominated for Entrepreneur of Impact. That's a
Yes.
big word. And especially, and that's why you are out here on Chai with Change Makers, because we love talking to women who basically have created an impact around in their community. And so beyond the recognition, is there a give back program, a nonprofit partnership, or a mentorship initiative which is tied to Blue Pepper, something that reflects the deeper purpose behind the brand?
So I would say not yet. Blue Pepper will soon be part of helping the community. From what we got, we will be giving it back because that's always been with my family background, like we spoke about the Deaf Magician Society.
Right,
So that's
right,
always been part of the family. So
right.
this is also something which is in mind and
Mm.
will happen. I hope by early next year, we will soon have something which is tied to Blue Pepper specific.
Wow. That's something I'm going to be looking forward to because that's going to be pretty interesting. And especially with the background that your family has, I think there's going to be a lot of people benefiting out of this. Okay. So Uh, we have a segment called Auntie Hot Seat, which is just a little fun segment that we want to actually have just to understand you as a person. So it's
Sure.
one word question, one sentence answers, whatever, right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
So, and that's where all your blends came out. Nice.
Yes.
If you had to describe yourself as one Bollywood character, who would it be?
I would say Sushmita Sen.
Wow.
Very, very bold, at the same time fun, and
Mm.
minds her own business.
Yes. So, what's one habit of yours that would surprise people who only know founder Trupti?
The fun person I am with, because when I'm out, I'm just at work. I'm a
Uh-huh.
little serious. I don't try to open up myself completely,
Right.
but I'm somebody who can party hard. I can play around. I can be fun all the time. People who know me very closely, they say my giggles don't stop. So so at work, I'm very serious.
And that's where all your fun blends in your tea also is showing. Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, this is fun. If you had to serve chai to any actor, who would you want sitting across from you, cup in hand?
I really have Priyanka Chopra in mind because I see her as bold and as visionary as possible. And then I really want to serve my tea to her.
Yeah. She's the I don't give a damn. Put your head
Yeah,
down, work,
right.
and
Absolutely.
yeah. So, samosa or glucose parle ji with your chai?
This is confusing, but having Parle Ji, I would say samosa.
So, you wear parle ji and you eat samosa with your chai. That's
Yes,
a
because
great,
samosa is my anytime. I can eat it even at night, 2 o'clock. My
wow.
stomach doesn't care.
That's great. One word your closest friend would use to describe you that has nothing to do with blue pepper.
The madness I carry.
Nice, nice. So, pretty much come to the end of the session, Trupti. So, for someone listening right now who's sitting at their own crossroads, maybe still carrying something hard from their past, maybe just scared to leave a stable career for something uncertain, what would you want them to know?
I know letting it go is very hard. You have to rewire your brain, but do it. It gives you sanity, it gives you so much peace and so much vision to look forward of what's waiting for you. Don't carry the past and baggage all the time. It's not necessary. There's life beyond what's happened to you in the past. So it's
And
easier said than
surround.
done. Yes. And surround yourself with the right people and support.
That's true. That is so beautiful. So, Trupti, I started as a customer who simply loved your masala. I'm ending this conversation in complete admiration of the woman who made it. From a childhood that wasn't easy, to losing your mother far too soon, to learning a whole new language just to fully embrace your husband's family, to building Blue Pepper from scratch in a brand new country, you have shown what real resilience looks like. Thank you, Trupti, and trusting us with your story on Chai with Change Makers. And for everyone listening, do check out bluepepper.ca. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next conversation. And I also want to end this the detail about you learning sign language to stay connected to your family and us making chai with the very masala that you make. It feels like a beautiful reminder that real connection finds a way even without words. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And my next order is coming in soon. And listeners, please check out bluepepper.ca again.
Thank you. Happy to serve you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.